Hi, and welcome to my channel where I make dishes inspired by some of my favorite video game characters. Today's dish is inspired by Kirby from the Kirby franchise. There are so many whimsical and fun Nintendo franchises that we all adore, and one of the more pure ones is the Kirby franchise. Kirby is so incredibly adorable and appeals to people of all kinds and ages. His look is not only adorable, but charming, and his games are also fun but not too high stakes. I have so many fun memories of playing Kirby Squeak Squad on my pink DS as a child, and loving the sprites and colors of the game. I also remember playing Kirby a lot on Super Smash Bros. Melee and Brawl, as he was kind of my runner-up character after Peach. Pink has pretty much always been my favorite color, and like most people, I'm drawn to cute things, so Kirby mixes the two perfectly for me. He's a perfect little mascot character who is so adorable but also kicks major butt and is extremely destructive. I remember hearing the fan theory that Kirby is essentially a god of destruction, and I found that hilarious. Whether that's true or not, it's definitely true that Kirby is an iconic character for a reason, and will probably be an extremely popular character for many decades to come. Of course, Kirby is so adorable and fun that there's so many different kinds of foods you could make. I mean, he dresses up as a chef and even makes a deadly stew. While I thought of going that route, I ultimately wanted to make something unbelievably cute like him, so I wanted to make a dessert. Kirby's original pink color and spherical shape remind me of a classic ball of bubblegum, and I think that suits him so well since he's literally so bubbly. Of course, when mentioning his shape, he's also essentially a big puff ball, so I started really wanting to make some cream puffs in his honor. So I ended up making some pink bubblegum flavored cream puffs that felt like I was literally sucking up a miniature Kirby. Here's what you'll need to make your own. For the choux pastry of the cream puffs, you'll need water, whole milk, unsalted butter, granulated sugar, salt, all-purpose flour, 4 large eggs at room temperature, and optional pink food dye. You can also use strawberries or raspberries to add Kirby's little feet. For the bubblegum cream filling, you'll need heavy whipping cream, granulated sugar, vanilla extract, and bubblegum flavor extract. To get the puff process started, we'll begin making the choux pastry. We'll head over to the stovetop and grab a medium saucepan. Into that saucepan, we'll add in a half cup of water, a half cup of whole milk, a half cup or 1 stick of unsalted butter, 1 teaspoon of granulated sugar, and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Start heating the mixture on medium heat and stir occasionally until the butter has fully melted and the liquid is almost at a boil. We'll then take the pan off the heat briefly and add in 1 cup of all-purpose flour. Stir and place the pan back onto the stovetop, again on medium heat, and heat while stirring constantly for about 2 minutes, or until the dough comes together in a smooth ball-like shape. You know, like Kirby. We can then take the choux off the stovetop and add it into the bowl of a stand mixer with a whisk attachment. You can also place the dough into a mixing bowl and use a hand mixer. Before doing anything else, start preheating your oven to 425 degrees Fahrenheit and then line 2 baking sheets with parchment paper. Head back to your choux dough and beat it on medium speed for about 1 minute, and then one at a time, add in your 4 large eggs. Make sure that before you add each egg, the egg is fully incorporated into the dough. When adding your last egg, feel free to add in a few drops of pink food dye and continue beating until you have a smooth dough. In general, you'll know that your choux pastry is the right consistency when it forms a V shape when you lift it up with a spoon. Once the choux is good to go, transfer it into a piping bag with a round tip that's about a 1/2 inch wide. Onto your prepared baking sheets, pipe about 28 puffs that are about 1.5 inches wide and about a 1/2 inch tall. Of course, these measurements do not need to be perfect whatsoever. Once you've piped the small circles, they may have some little peaks on top. Just grab a small cup of water, dab your finger into the water, and gently smooth down any of these peaks on all of the puffs. We're then ready to slide the puffs into the oven to bake. We'll bake the puffs for 10 minutes at 425 degrees Fahrenheit, so set a timer for 10 minutes as soon as they go in. Once the 10 minutes go off, we'll reduce the temperature to 325 degrees Fahrenheit without opening the oven door. Now that the puffs are sitting at 325 degrees, we'll bake for another 20 to 22 minutes until the pink puffs turn slightly more golden in color. We can then remove the puffs from the oven and transfer to a cooling rack to cool. As you transfer the puffs, poke a small hole at the bottom of each one with a toothpick. While the puffs completely cool, we'll make our bubblegum filling. Again, in a stand mixer bowl or in a large mixing bowl, we'll add in 2 cups of heavy whipping cream, 4 tablespoons of granulated sugar, a half teaspoon of vanilla extract, and a half teaspoon of bubblegum flavor extract. We'll beat all 4 ingredients on medium-high speed for a few minutes until it becomes fluffy with stiff peaks. We'll then transfer the cream to a piping bag. As soon as the puffs become room temperature, we can fill each one with the cream. Into the side of a cream puff, poke the piping bag inside and then fill until the cream puff starts to expand and some cream starts to push back onto your piping bag. You'll repeat this process with all cream puffs, and then we're pretty much done. All you have to do is optionally decorate with some berry Kirby feet and then serve. This dish just screams Kirby in all ways: look, texture, and taste. They look so fluffy and fun with that hint of pink color, and the choux pastry is such a wonderful texture. As you take a bite, you're overwhelmed with creamy and puffy filling that is so pillowy soft and has that gentle yet firm flavor of bubblegum. Making the dish is fun and easy, but still makes you feel like a professional pastry chef, and there's so many puffs to go around that there's plenty for you to enjoy. Kirby wouldn't just eat these, he'd inhale them all, just like he characteristically does with all of his enemies. When he'd swallow the cream puffs, though, he wouldn't become anything else, because they literally are just him in food form. It would be an extremely lucky day if he ever found these out while exploring, but most of the time he'd have to make them on his own by shoving a bunch of adorable ingredients into his iconic large pot. There's a surplus of delicious and adorable foods in his universe, such as the classic tomato and swirly lollipop, but he might just admit that these are the most special of all, and he'd love to share them with any of his companions, but certainly not King DDD. The recipe card is in the video description if you'd like a more quick and concise version to give it a try. Like if you want a bite, subscribe for more geeky treats, and comment what foods Kirby reminds you of. Thanks for following along.